All right, today we're going to talk about self-defense in a street situation. Now, I know most people have a lot of different opinions on what they think is the best self-defense martial art, whether it be wrestling, kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, MMA. There's a bunch of schools of thought on this topic, but I think my ideas on self-defense are the most applicable to real life situations. So, two of the best ways that I think that you can defend yourself is number one, being in some kind of shape. So, regardless of what martial art you know or any techniques that you might have, if you're just really out of shape, we're talking about, don't have enough cardio to do any kind of strenuous activity for 30 seconds or more, you're going to be in really bad shape if something goes down in a real life situation. And this goes for men and women. If you can't scuffle for a solid 30 seconds, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what technique you know. If you're not strong enough, if you're not fast enough or athletic enough or any of these kinds of things, all that stuff is going to go to waste anyways. So it's really important that you're in some kind of shape. I'm not saying you have to be in the best shape ever, but, some form of cardio, some form of strength and conditioning, something that's going to help you to be able to scuffle, right? Just a good scuffle, be able to run away if you need to. And how much more important is this for a female, especially? Like a woman's already, coming from behind since they're a little bit weaker than men. So for a woman to defend herself against a man, she needs to be having some type of exercise in her regular life to make sure that she can defend herself if she needs to. Small men as well. A small man, same situation. You're going to be weaker than bigger men, so you want to work out and do things to make sure that if something does happen, you can defend yourself. So, number one, man, exercise. Very underrated, very overlooked. When people think about self-defense, they're always usually thinking about some type of martial art. They're thinking about some weapon or something like that. No. You need to be in shape. You need to be healthy enough to fight back, to scuffle for at least 30 seconds or more. Or else anything that you learn is pointless, all right? So make sure that you're exercising if you're not already. Obviously, if you're watching my channel, you're probably somebody who exercises anyway. Definitely major key, being in shape. I think that's the number one way to make sure that you can keep yourself safe in a situation, because it's the backbone of any other martial art. Now, number two, what martial art do I think is the best now? Because there's a lot of arguments that go back and forth on this. Like, is it boxing? Is it Muay Thai? Is it wrestling? Is it wrestling? And I would say this, in a real street situation, I think boxing is the best. You could say MMA. You could say MMA as well, because MMA makes sure that you're safe in what if scenarios. But in general, just boxing to keep it simple. And not just boxing, but defensive boxing. Not offensive boxing, defensive boxing. Boxing that's based on moving your feet. Boxing that's based on keeping yourself safe. Not being an aggressor, but they're being aggressive towards you. Now, the reason why I say this is because here's the thing about a self-defense situation. When it comes to self-defense, most people are stationary. Whether it be any other martial art you could bring up, all these martial arts for the most part require you to be in one spot. So for example, if you're a wrestler, you're going to wrestle someone, you're going to take them down, and you're going to be in one spot. If you're a judo fighter, a jiu-jitsu fighter, if you're most martial arts, Muay Thai, very stationary, very stationary. These martial arts are going to require you to be in one spot. So I personally think that the most dangerous thing that you can do in a street situation is be stationary. Why? Because we're not talking about one-on-one combat. We're talking about multiple people. And even if it is one-on-one combat, you're still giving somebody a chance to hit you and to dig and sit down in their punches, things like that. Think about this, right? Think about this. Most trained fighters, boxers, MMA fighters, Muay Thai fighters, most fighters aren't skilled at punching while they move. For example, look at Canelo Alvarez. He's one of the best fighters in the entire world. And he pretty much has to stop moving before he throws his punches. Like, literally, watch him fight. Most fighters have no skill set at punching and moving at the same time. So with that being said, if even the best fighters in the world are not good at punching and moving at the same time, or kicking and moving at the same time, how much less would an untrained fighter not be good at hitting and moving? They're not good at even being stationary and hitting. They don't know how to fight, right? Like 99% of people don't know how to fight. So they're not even technically efficient at throwing punches even in one spot. How much less are they going to be good at throwing punches while moving? Any semblance of power that they can put on their punches, of technique that they can put on their punches goes out the window, especially when they already don't know how to fight. And this is even goes for people who do know how to fight too, but especially people who don't know how to fight. So what happens, think about this, right? When you're hitting the bag, When you want to dig down and throw big shots, you stay in one spot, you sit, you throw punches. That's what everybody does naturally. So what you want to do is, as a defensive boxer, as somebody who's moving their feet, you want to move your feet so they cannot sit down. If they can't sit down, they can't put power on their punches. Off the bat, the power pretty much is gone from off their punches. They're already not technical, so they're going to be tripping on themselves as they seek to attack you. And the interesting part about this is we got to think about it. We're talking about self-defense here. This is self-defense because if somebody were to record what I'm talking about on footage, it would look like me moving my feet, moving backwards, left and right, them chasing after me, and then me parking my feet and firing. That's what it would look like. That is self-defense. They are attacking me and I'm fighting defensively. So it's not like wrestling where I took him down, or Muay Thai where I was walking him down behind the Muay Thai. No. They were running at me. So this is perfect for self-defense. It puts them at a disadvantage because they're moving their feet, they're stumbling, they're tripping. This works against multiple attackers too. Think about this. You fight against 3 different dudes. None of them are really trained. And when they're chasing after you, they're trying to get to you. They're stumbling. And what happens is when you're moving left and right, say there's 3 guys. I'm right here. There's 3 dudes right here. As they start to chase me, they're going to start to line up. So you're only ever going to actually be facing one at a time, because if you're like this, if you're stationary, it could be like this. But as you move, they start to line up naturally. Have 3 of your friends chase you around, and as you move, watch that they start to line up. So that's another thing. You're only going to have to face one at a time. What else plays into this is emotions, right? Think about the emotions of a self-defense situation. If somebody wants to attack you in a street situation, there must be a lot of emotions flaring. To get a grown man or even a teenager or whatever to want to attack you, they're triggered. So even better, because think about this, a trained fighter. If you can get a trained fighter angry, they will also start to overextend, start to reach. Think about Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. Conor McGregor had gotten under Jose Aldo's skin for months. He was grabbing his belt off the table at the press conference. He was just running his mouth constantly, had Jose Aldo, really just aggravated. He got under Jose Aldo's skin. And this went on for a long time because they were supposed to fight and the fight got canceled and then they booked another fight. So this went on for a while where Conor McGregor was just, taunting him. And Jose Aldo had been on a, long, we're talking 10 years. I forget exactly how long the win streak that Jose Aldo was on, but he was on a win streak for a long time. And, Jose Aldo was regarded as one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world at this particular time. So when he went in that ring and Conor McGregor was able to snipe him in under a minute, this is crazy. Like this, nobody expected that. But here's the thing. Conor McGregor's style is based on him getting people to reach, to overextend, to lunge. It's very difficult to keep yourself safe and to be defensively responsible when you're reaching, when you're overextending, when you're lunging. And that's exactly what Conor McGregor thrives off of. So what did he do? He got under Jose Aldo's skin, and Jose Aldo doesn't typically always reach, but because he was angry, he started reaching, started overextending because he was emotional. He reached and he got caught and he got knocked out. And that just goes to show that even the best fighters in the world, if they're aggravated, they start to reach, they start to stumble over themselves. They lose technique. And when you look at a fighter like Floyd Mayweather, when Conor fought Floyd, he tried the same tactic on Floyd, but Floyd was calm, cool, and collected, and Floyd never really reached, never gave Conor the chance to counter him. So I say all that to say this. In a street scenario, a street fighter is going to be, angry because they want to fight you in the street, right? They're trying to attack you. They don't care about the law at that point. They don't care about their own well-being at that point. They don't care about your well-being at that point. They're willing to go to prison right now because they want to attack you so bad. So that just falls more into what I'm talking about when I say move your feet. So if you're moving your feet and they're already angry, they don't know how to fight, they're reaching, they're just asking for you to stop. So that's why a defensive footwork style where you're moving your feet, using the park steps that I always love to talk about. I'm a big advocate of the park step just because a park step is basically a maneuver where you move your feet, they chase after you, and when they chase after you, you stop on a dime and you fire a counter. Perfect for a street scenario. Like this is the style that you want to use in a street fight scenario because once again, they're moving their feet. They don't know how to fight. So that means they're stumbling all over themselves. If it's multiple people, even better. Park, knock one out. Park, knock another one out. And the good thing is in the street, chances are not everyone is like in crazy good shape either. So by you moving your feet, you're making them work even more. So by the time they actually even get to you, they're probably more exhausted and more tired, ready for that knockout. Because the more tired somebody is, the faster it is, the easier it is to knock them out. So that's why I think moving your feet and fighting defensively as a boxer is hands down the easiest, is just because ultimately at the end of the day, what we're talking about is not being stationary. Being stationary, I don't care what martial art you're doing. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. When you're stationary, you are playing Russian roulette. If me right now, I'm a trained fighter. I've been training my entire life. Well, not my entire life. I'm 29. I've been training since I was 14. I've been competing since I was 15. So more than half my life, I've been training. If I were to get into a fist fight right now with an untrained average Joe, if we were to just sit in front of each other and start swinging at each other, he can knock me out. He has a chance to knock me out. So with that being said, imagine you, a person who's not the most technically, skilled fighter who hasn't been doing this your whole life. If you stay in one spot and you take your chances, you're playing Russian roulette. Anybody can knock anybody out. So I'm not going to give anyone that chance. I'm going to move my feet and take away any skill set that they might have, any semblance of technique and ability to put power on their punches that they might have. I'm taking that away from them. I'm not giving them a chance to do that. I'm not going to be stationary. And it's funny because this is the same mindset that I have towards actual regular sport fighting. Being stationary is the enemy. When you're stationary, you're a target. So now let's talk about other martial arts really fast. And I'm done, right? So let's say wrestler. When you take someone down and you're on the ground, guess what you are? Stationary. Somebody can come from behind you. Somebody can stab you. Somebody can come from behind you that can kick you. They can hit you from behind. You're stationary. Jiu-jitsu. You try to go down and do an armbar or, do a submission on someone. You're stationary. You're putting yourself at risk. Muay Thai, stationary. All these martial arts are stationary. And then you might say, for example, okay, you got Taekwondo and you got karate. They have movement in their martial arts as well. But here's the thing. They're using kicks. And I don't think it's a smart idea to use kicks in the street, especially when you're dealing with multiple aggressors, just because you don't know what kind of pavement is under you, right? Like if you're in a street fight, chances are this just broke out of nowhere. So like it's very random. You don't know where you're going to be at when this happens. You're not going to know what's around you. So if you were to lift your leg up and trip and fall, and then they get on top of you, that could be bad. So I think it's risky to throw a kick in a fight in the street just because you don't know what kind of gravel's under you. And, things happen. Like everybody has thrown a head kick and tripped and fell just because they weren't ready for whatever reason. So I don't think it's a smart idea to throw kicks in the street just because you risk falling down, and then that could be bad. Yeah, I think boxing defensively for all those reasons, their lack of cardio, their lack of skills, not being stationary, getting them to move while you're just a defensive guy. You're just moving your feet and waiting for your moment to strike. That is the dominant way of defending yourself. And that is true self-defense. Talk about like Krav Maga and all these weird, take his wrist and you bend them and you make them curl up. Come on, man. Like, what kind of girl's going to be able to pull that off? What kind of average person is going to be able to pull that stuff off? And guess what? When you grab his hand and you do all that cool stuff, you're stationary. His friend can come from behind and knock you out. So all that stuff might look fancy, Wing Chun and all these fancy martial arts, trash. Move your feet and wait for your moment for them to get just close enough so you can stop moving and fire. They're going to run right into it. I'm going to leave a link down in the description for a series of park step drills. I've got a bunch of these drills where you can work this exact technique that I'm talking about. It's called the park step. And if you can master the park step for street self-defense, you're locked in. That is the best way to defend yourself in the street, I believe. And I think it's also a great technique to have even for sport fighting, just because even in sport fighting, if you want to fight defensively and you don't have any actual way to win, you're just moving your feet, you're not going to win. You're still going to lose because you're not scoring. So this helps you to be able to score while fighting defensively. I'm a defensive fighter. These are the kind of things that I like personally, and it's helped me to get to where I am at. I'm 8-2 as a pro. I went 8-0. I was ranked number 8 in the world at the age of 25 in Bellator. It helped me in my career, so I know it could help you as well.